Okay, can we get into your dating life?
Yeah.
I don't know. So, I have a lot of friends who are single moms,
Yes.
and they're always complaining to me about the dating scene is so hard, and you're basically leaving one guy with, you know, his drama for another guy
with
or
more
girl.
drama,
I can't tell you how many of my friends have left their husbands for a woman.
Wow.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
I thought maybe
Is it
it was
out
a
of
Seattle
desperation,
thing.
you think?
I don't know. I don't know.
Become a lesbian out of desperation?
I thought maybe it's Seattle. You know, Seattle's very...
Seattle's super open, yeah.
I don't know what it is. It's very shocking. Every time I was like...
But I find that there's more drama in girl-girl relationship than
girl and girl
man.
action.
Yeah.
I like guys because they're so simple.
Yeah. I would like to be more like them, is what it is.
Girls are so complicated
Yes.
and so... how do we describe girls?
Sneaky, like everything
Sneaky?
has to mean something that's meaning
We're
something
psychological.
else. Yeah.
And guys are so simple. They're just like they're just
whatever
what it
they
is.
say they mean and whatever.
Yeah. And when they lie, you know, because they're not good at
They're not
I
good
don't
at
think they're
it.
good at
Yeah.
lying. And so you can read them really well. And like with girls, yeah, you would just never know.
No, it's true.
I don't
true.
think I can handle a girl.
It's so true.
To be the only girl in my...
You know what? You would have said this to me like 7 years ago. I would have been like, ew, no way. Sexually, I'm not attracted to women, but mentally, with what I've experienced with this tribe,
Yeah.
I started to love and adore women. I used to hate women before, and now I absolutely love
girl's
them.
girl.
I've become
Yeah.
such a girl's girl, and I used to be so afraid of women and not like them, and I used to find them so mean to me. And
Was it
now,
a New York thing or a Miami thing?
no, I think it's just different times in my life and different era.
But
Today,
you saw
women
them more as
uplift women.
competition,
Yeah,
or-
I used to not like women. I used to not trust them. I used to really not be a girl's girl. Like my best friend is a man.
Yeah.
You know, and things have changed.
Yeah.
This
No, you're
tribe
so
has.
different.
I'm such a girl's girl now, and
Yeah.
I love women. I could spend so much time with them. My retreat was heaven.
I
You
know,
would
that
have
was
told me
amazing.
7 years ago that I would spend my whole week with 10 women. I would have been like, fuck no.
Yeah.
It's so different.
And you were there,
Bachelorette
right?
parties, yeah. She's like not the one to go to like a bachelorette party and nowhere without Jill because like she hates everyone else. And all the others. But this retreat, it made her like the team captain, cheerleader. Like she's like the queen. Like
I could tell. It looked so fun.
It was-
You were so in your element.
good.
It was
Yeah.
amazing.
I was on a
You
some,
did really
so
well.
these
Wow.
women and the thing is Instagram does it too. You've done
Yeah.
it for me. Like I've read some of your long messages and like would just like be like, wow, I love this woman. Like she's good. There's like good eggs like now, you know, it's great.
you.
And I didn't feel that way about women before.
Yeah.
So maybe that's
Well, a
this
lot of
new
them,
era. So I
right.
can understand like just wanting to be around women. But not sexually, that's for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about you. You became single after a long marriage.
Yes.
You left your husband, which was I'm sure was a very difficult move, but you knew it was best for your family.
It was, but I didn't have a traumatic divorce because him and I had a very amicable divorce.
Which is so nice.
We'd been together for 17 years, and he was my first, and I married him when I was 17 years old.
So,
And he was very adamant about being by my side when I was in prison. As you know, I was in prison. He was great with that. But he was just not a good husband. Like, he was not a good dad and not a good husband. It's just, he wasn't good at that.
your children,
Yes, he let Jill adopt my children.
which is nice.
Which
right?
I think, in a way, makes him a great father. In a way.
I see.
He's never used the kids to try and hurt me. He's never, you know, I've never heard anything from New York where he would badmouth me.
Right.
He was very angry with me because obviously I left him.
Yeah. And he's Jewish, and he's like
He's
a real
Jewish, and he
devout.
had a few years of like pure anger, like I don't want to see you anymore, or
Because to
you
him,
know.
did you break a commandment? Like, is he going to be okay spiritually?
No. Yeah. So that was the thing.
I come from a religious background, so I know how.
He became super. So it's crazy because some hater wrote me one day like, "Yeah, I used to like you, but I think
saw that,
you
right?
remember? Like, yeah, like you didn't know your husband was religious." Well, actually, no. When I married married my ex-husband Joe, he was like this cool guy, bad boy, on a motorcycle with an earring and long hair. And then we got married and he became this crazy religious man. Like, no, we got married and then we had Dylan and he became this crazy religious man.
Wow.
And it's kind of like I stayed married to him, kind of hoping to see glimpses of the man I married originally, and he was a bad boy. And I'm attracted to bad boys. She was a bad boy too. So it was like I kind of stayed married to him for 17 years, and then we would go out on Saturday nights, for example, and he would have like a few whiskeys and he would become the guy I married again.
Okay. So it kept you
So it kind of kept me going, and I loved him. And, you know, of course, I was always meant to be a mom. I became a mom at the age of like 20.
Yeah.
And, you know, when you're Jewish and like you said, you come from a religious background, you don't think of getting divorced even if you're not happy. But when we got divorced, it was like we felt like we tried everything. And it wasn't working. I was still unhappy.
You tried everything.
I tried everything. He tried his best as far as what he could. He didn't know how to be a good husband. He wasn't taught, but he was the best he could be. Yeah. You know. And now we're on speaking terms. The kids, not so much.
You're not on speaking terms. You're not.
No, they're not. She was talking to her sister. No, he's not on speaking terms with the girls. But no, because he just, you know, he fell so hard into the religion, and he's just, you know, he didn't have that chip, the fatherhood chip. He just was not a good father. And
did you hear what I said?
Yeah. So he finally.
It's really hard.
So my son turned 18, and they were both in Miami at the same time, and I found out, and I called him and I said, your son's here, but I want you to know he's being adopted. And he's like, yeah, I know he's being adopted, and I'm super happy. I heard his father's an amazing guy, but I'd like to see him. And I called Dylan and I was like, do you want to see Joe? And he's like, no. And I'm like, I think you should see him. I think you need closure, because Dylan was very angry. You know, we were married for a lot of his life. Like, Dylan was 12 when I left his father. So he was angry, and they ended up seeing each other, and they had kind of like a heart-to-heart. And he said he doesn't have the fatherhood chip, but he has regrets. And, you know, he loves me his own way. And it's going to be like that. He married again and he got divorced. And I actually called his wife 6 months ago to try and convince her to stay with him.
You did?
Yes. Because he called me and he was super sad, and he was like, yeah, I realized I was not a good husband to you. And I mean, it was
like, honestly, if he let you go, I don't know how you could make it work with anyone.
So he said, I can't believe I let you go.
Yeah.
And
right?
I think,
you know what I'm saying.
And he's like, but he did say it, and he was so sweet about it. And he's like, I'm so sorry. I want you to know that none of our divorce was your fault. And I realized it today, and I'm really sad. And now she's leaving me. And I told him, you suck. Like, that's why she's leaving you. You really suck. And he sounded like a changed man. And because I'm probably the person who knows him the most, I was like, you know what? Do you want her to try and work it out with you? I feel like you've changed. I mean, he was nice to my son, and, you know, obviously he knew my son didn't call him dad and wasn't going to call him dad, and he was strangely okay with that.
It is really strange.
But in a way, I feel like he realizes he was not the best for the kids, so he let them have a better father than him, and that's a form of love.
That is.
I think. You know,
it's actually a high form of love.
There are fathers that are not loving, and they subject their kids to a lot of their own abuse and lack of love. I feel like it's a form of love.
That was a sacrificial.
You know, it's.
Love.
I do believe he sees it as a sacrifice, for sure, and I don't doubt that he loves them, for sure. And I'm glad that he had that talk with Dylan, but the girls are not on this. They're not ready yet. I propose it all the time. I don't want to be one of those parents that
I can tell you're not
that prevents their kids from seeing their biological father or anything like that. But just doesn't have the fathership, you know. So that was my divorce.
Because Jill looks like he really has a fathership.
Yeah, he does have a
He, like,
fathership,
loves
and the kids are
them
starting to
and-
look like him, which is so strange.
It's strange.
I know. Yeah. You look. It's like
He's so handsome. You guys are like the most beautiful couple.
Aw, thank you.
When you guys were smoking cigars, I was like, does it get any sexier than this? Like,
I like my
seriously.
cigar.
Yeah.
Savannah likes her cigar too.
I know, I saw that.
People are so shocked that I let her smoke
I just
cigar.
imagine all the lashback you got.
Well,
on
only
that.
from foreigners,
you
not
did
from
get
the French. The French don't,
Of course.
you know, because you can
But
give a glass of
American.
wine to your child, but Americans,
I knew it. I sort of want to see this. I want you to post some of those.
I do sometimes.
Yeah. So you left your husband.
So I left
You
my
were
husband.
in New York at this time.
Yes. Actually, I left my husband, and because the kids were small and we had this really big house, whatever, we kind of stayed in the same house, which was really not good. And
Wow. Yeah.
it was really not good.
That'd be very awkward.
And being married for 17 years, it made kind of not being together really hard. Like you keep on going back, you know, because that's all you know. So I was like, you know what, I need to move. And I think it took me like 10 days.
Were you working on?
I was working, I was in the fashion industry, but I was feeling like it was time for me to take a bow and leave.
Wait, is this before or after?
That was after. That was 3 years after. I was
Okay.
in the fashion industry, but you know, in the fashion industry, what I did was
Because they
amazing.
welcomed you back with
They
open
welcomed me
arms.
back with open arms. I had a wonderful career. I worked with, you know, Beyonce for Vogue magazine. I did a lot of incredible
my
things.
favorite person
I
in the
dressed
world.
Fergie. I, you know, dressed Rihanna. It was amazing. But then Fashion Week was the highlight of what we did,
Yeah.
and we were, as fashion stylists, we were important people.
Yeah.
And then the Kardashians came around and the bloggers came around and we were no longer important. And I kind of knew that I had lost my momentum. Like people that did what we do, they don't have a job anymore. Fashion
And
stylists don't
instead
have
of
jobs
resenting
anymore.
it, you just jumped.
Right. I was like, you know what?
You're so smart that way.
We are like those supermodels when they age out and the 18-year-olds with no boobs come in.
Yeah.
It's like you have to know to take a bow and just
Yeah.
like change careers. So I was like, you know what? It's time. I need to leave. If I stay in New York, I'm never going to be able to truly leave my ex-husband
Yeah.
because, you know, he's always going to be part of my life, and it's just I'll never have a dating life. Like you always keep on
Right,
going back to
yeah.
that person. They're all you know.
Yeah.
And the same with the career. And then at that point, someone had offered a job to me on fashion TV here in Monaco a few years back, and I called back and they said, yeah, the offer is still open. And within 10 days, my ex-husband totally supported me with the
And your
choice.
sister lives in Nice, right?
No, my
Or-
sister lived in Toulouse at the time, but she had a home in Cannes that she let me borrow. So I went to her home in Cannes. We lived there for a few weeks, and then
That must have been nice.
we found our apartment in Beau Soleil,
Yeah.
and we had a gorgeous apartment in Beau Soleil. We moved there, and we started. I worked for fashion TV. Hated every second of
You
it.
did.
Yeah, it was very superficial. Wasn't what I was doing. What I was doing before was, you know, was substantial. It was
Yeah.
art. It was, you know, there was so much.
Yeah.
There was entrepreneurship. There was so much. But my job here for fashion TV, they gave me a small producer job, but a lot of it was TV presenting and kind of going to boozy parties and, you know, interviewing supermodels and interviewing all these, you know, bad boys,
Yeah.
rich bad boys and millionaires.
Okay, and you never hit it off with any of these people?
No, that's never been my thing. So, you know, and the thing is, I couldn't
Were
hit it
you,
off.
were you
All these-
looking for someone new, or were you kind of like just
No.
content to be a single
No,
mom?
at that
and
time,
work?
I was not looking for someone new. I was kind of ashamed of being divorced because I had been this married woman my whole life with
It's
a
your
ring on my
identity.
finger, and it was my identity, and
Yeah.
I felt judged almost, which I think was mostly in my head.
In your head, yeah. I don't think anyone was judging.
And then, you know, at the end of the day, this lifestyle, when you have to go home to 3 children that don't have family here, I got them a dog because we didn't have anyone,
Yeah.
you know, so
Yeah.
now she's my 4th child, obviously, but that's all we had. So when you have to go home after work, even though you're shooting for fashion TV or whatever, 1 o'clock in the morning, you're kind of like this party pooper going, yeah, I'm going home now. Nobody
Yeah.
wants to be with you know?
Yeah.
And then on weekends we'd go to the beaches and even like come to Nikki Beach, whatever. But I had
Yeah.
those 3 kids in tow, so
Right.
you know what guys?
Anybody
want
want a
that?
family?
Anybody wants to babysit? You know, so. But I mean, I dated. I had some.
I think Italian guys don't mind. I feel like when I was walking with my youngest
no,
son
they don't
down the
mind.
street, no,
I was
just
with
like,
an Italian guy.
almost like I was more attractive.
Yeah.
With
They
my,
don't mind
my
it.
boys.
Yeah.
I'm like, did you not see my ring? Like,
No, they don't
is
mind.
it not big enough?
You know
I
what
told
they
my
tell
husband
you?
he needs to buy me a bigger ring.
You know what they tell you? They tell you it's okay. I'm not jealous.
Yeah.
But they're the worst boyfriends ever. They're very jealous. They're very possessive. I was with an Italian guy and it turned out to be a nightmare. And if he's
you
listening,
did
I hope
date
he
an Italian
dies.
guy.
3 children
Yeah.
and face him.
He was so good to my kids at first.
Yeah?
So good to my
Oh, you
kids.
met him.
Yeah, of course.
Did you
we
like
lived
him?
with him.
Wait.
Yeah.
Okay, come on. Now there's a lot
That
of
was
stories I want to hear.
awful.
I want to hear everything.
So I met an
In
Italian
Monaco?
guy here who was much older than me, and he totally charmed me by his kindness and,
Yeah.
you know, kind of like very classy and whatever.
Yeah.
And then he was super nice to the kids. And then the minute we moved in together, he became an absolute monster.
Right, super jealous.
Super
Didn't wanna
jealous,
leave that.
horrible with the kids. All of a sudden, it's like.
What did he do?
But he was so.
verbally
He was
abusive,
verbally
like, He
abusive.
was very possessive of us. He wanted us to be like perfect. And
Oh my gosh.
So he, but at first he was amazing with the kids. I was like,
Right.
oh my god, how could
They're so
somebody be
tricky
so
that way.
How
They
could
can,
somebody
like,
be so
have
nice
a
to
good
kids that
charm.
are not his? He had like
The charming guys
charm.
are the worst.
Yeah,
But you lucked out with Jill.
Yeah, he had a great.
No, Gilles was different because Gilles has this, like he got this bad boy attitude. Like he dated the whole world, and
Yeah.
I think he fucked half of Monaco and Nice and everywhere else.
So you got it out
But-
of his system. a
But he
little bit?
has this extreme kindness that's not calculated, but almost like too kind. Like when I got with him, I could see that we had a cleanup to do with his friends, for example. So it was
They were
totally
like using.
different.
My husband
yeah.
was the same. He had
Yeah.
so many people just using him because he had.
Yeah, because you know he was. I mean,
Yeah.
a successful movie producer and director for a while and whatever, and he had no family almost and stuff. So his friends were his family, and a lot of people took advantage of that. And when I came around, it was like, who is with this smart Jewish New Yorker who's probably gonna clock us in a second, and no longer let him pay the bills for us, and that's exactly what happened.
Yeah.
But
Good
so
for you.
Gilles was
Good for
different.
Gilles.
Gilles was like kind from right off the bat, but the Italian guy was a nightmare. And ultimately, it ended after a year and a half of me putting a knife to his throat because he tried to hit Dylan, and he threw an iPad at him. And I came into the kitchen and I grabbed a butcher knife and put it under his, on his throat and said, okay, now I'm going to kill you. And he's like, no, you aren't. I'm like, I went to jail once. At least this time I'll go for something that's worth
He's
it.
messing with.
Yeah.
Really.
So
This time it's worth
I got
it.
him
That
out of
is
the
so
house,
good.
and then I went to the police, and they're like, we don't know what happened. We didn't hear anything. Go do what you have to do. Like the police.
How did you get out so immediately?
The
What
police.
did you?
Well, the police helped me. The police in Monaco does not like that stuff, and so they helped me. They actually repossessed his furniture right away, and it was super easy for me to get out of it. And at the same time, I changed career completely, and I got an amazing job with a boss who was in Vietnam, and I was doing some PR for him and stuff like that. So that paid my bills right away. And
I think it's your good attitude too, because I think some people would hear that and be like, "Wow, you know, all these opportunities just fell into your lap." But I think your attitude has a lot to do with it. Like just meeting in person too, you're the same as online, but you're so happy and I feel like your outlook is so good and people want to work with you. You know, it's very
I hope
attractive.
so. I mean,
She attracts.
I'm cutting a lot of the stories. Like there were the times where I cried, the times where I thought my car was going to be repossessed. Like I'm passing you all of those details and kind of jumping through, but they have been tough times. There were times where I sold all my
That's true.
jewelry.
You're like,
and
but I went to jail.
I went to jail.
There was
and,
that little hiccup in the road.
Everyone has that
we've had a time where we only ate
Yeah.
pasta and I didn't buy meat and and sandwiches and stuff. We went through all of it, but I think that's what makes us so happy now.
But to come through all of that and have the outlook that you do is really incredible.
Really?
Positive person.
But I
You
think
just
that's
radiate
why.
positivity and
See, everyone says that about her.
yeah, it's true.
It's like she has a halo.
I feel that only good things will happen to you.
That's so nice. Thank you.
And I think things are just going to keep getting better and better. Thank you. And for your family as well, really. I know that you did your whole story with Jill, and I got chilled with the story. I mean, it was so beautiful, and you can just tell Jill loves you and your kids so much.
Yeah, he's wonderful.
It's just one of those things you think just happens in the movies.
It's so like that.
Right?
I kept on saying, like, whoever writes those movies probably had a story like ours to know exactly how you feel.
The writing came from somewhere,
Yeah,
right? And people always say,
definitely.
"Oh, those are just romance movies that never
No.
have." That came from somewhere.
I promise you, that's exactly what I said at the beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my gosh, this is like in the movies. Whoever writes those movies has gone through this.
They must have.
You know?
I mean, there's like the Hallmark movie where it's just
Yeah.
to make money.
Yeah.
It's just a formulaic
No,
thing
it's
to make
true.
money. But then there's those movies that you watch that are so deep to the heart, and you
Like The
know-
Notebook.
That was really weird because I just was
That's
thinking
like
of
that.
Notebook.
About to say it.
It's like
Yeah,
this.
it was like the
this
Notebook just came to my
no,
head
but why
and you
not?
said
Because
it.
there's like so much pain at the same time as there's so much love that comes through, and
can't
it's like
manufacture that.
It's definitely not Hallmark. You can't
Yeah.
manufacture that.
Yeah.
I'm sure someone has lived that story.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
feel it.
Yeah.
So it can happen to
Yeah.
anyone. It can happen to all my single moms
Yes,
out
it
there. And what would be your advice if you let's imagine you were a single mom. I think Lauren said she would like post up at like St. Bart's or something, you know, with a novel and look really smart. It's actually a really good idea, I think. What would you advise?
Okay,
people
so
to
what's
do?
worked for me and what's changed, and I believe that's what attracted Gilles, is that I met Gilles at the time I looked for it the least. And I know it's very cliche to say
Everyone
that.
says that,
But
yeah.
I came to a point and I had gotten rid of the Italian guy in such a traumatic way where he tried to hit my child. So imagine how guilty I felt that I put my children in this position.
That's why you weren't looking.
So I wasn't looking because I was like,
Yeah.
I sat my kids down when we moved to our new house and I said to them, okay, now my time belongs to you. I'm so sorry that you had to go through that. Never again would I let a man in. And at the time I said that, I really meant it. And I was like, you know what? I owe them. I owe them like a year and a half of what this guy put us through. And so I decided to be myself. And I didn't care about any guy because as far as I was concerned, I identified all of them to this horrible man I had been with.
Right.
And to be very clear, not my ex-husband. We're talking about the Italian guy that I dated after.
Yeah.
Because my ex-husband was not so bad.
Abusive.
You know, he was
he
not,
was like distant.
he was difficult, but he was not like that. You know, he was not abusive, never.
It was the first time you'd experienced something like
Yeah,
that.
I mean, you have to realize my ex-husband is of Syrian descent, so they have a way of being very abusive mentally because of the way they can treat women and stuff. But part of him was also very modern, so it kind of like evened out. That Italian guy, I hope he's listening. I hope he goes to hell.
Yeah.
You know, I think he went to hell actually. Got him arrested.
He got what was coming.
Yeah, he got what he deserved. He's actually not allowed in Monaco.
Yeah.
Yeah, and there's facial recognition in Monaco, so you can't, if you're not allowed in Monaco, they will know you're here. They have facial recognition
He
here.
really got what was coming.
So, yeah, I'm very spiteful if you're going to touch my kids.
No,
but
I mean,
what
I
I would
can't even
say is,
imagine,
as far
yeah.
as when I realized that I attracted Gilles because I wasn't looking for him, I was looking for me. That's where everything changed. I was like, I became myself. I started to love myself. I stopped wearing high heels all the time, trying to be someone else I'm not, trying to be taller than I am. I
Right.
started wearing a little less makeup. I started to be all for my kids. We were going paddling every day. Like, it all became about me and my kids. And instead of looking for another, like a better half, I looked for me. And that's when he came around. And when I met him, like the first thing I said to him was, okay, we're gonna have an affair and you're never gonna meet my kids.
Yeah. Like
Deal?
you're never gonna see me again, right?
And yeah.
Like I don't need you.
Yeah.
It was just so
But
attractive.
I meant it. Like the thing
Yeah.
is, you can't just say it. I had gone through something so traumatic with that guy, and I felt so guilty towards my kids that I was like, you know what? Now it's us against the world.
Yeah.
And whoever wants to come around can come into my bed for a minute,
But not
and then
to
he'll get
your
the fuck
kids.
out.
Yeah.
And that's pretty much when I met Gilles. That's what
Yeah.
it was, and I think that's what attracted him.
I think there's a thing too, like you do kind of have to. I'm just psychologically. I think you do kind of have to push the guy away a little bit.
Yeah,
Like, he
but
has to
not
have
playing a
reason to
game.
come
But not
forward.
playing a game. The problem is when you say that, women start playing games. And Gilles said it to me. He's like, you know what? I love it. You don't play games. Like,
Yeah.
I changed my mind when I decided, like, okay, maybe this is not going to be an affair. And I called him and I said, I changed my mind. It's not going to be an affair. You know,
Yeah.
maybe after all, I will introduce you to my kids.
Yeah.
And he was like, I like that. You're not playing games.
Yeah.
Girls are playing games. they you know.
Yeah, there's like a fine line because I think you have to be authentic
mean
and
it.
honest, and you have to mean it.
So maybe look for
So if you like
making
the guy
enough
too
space
much,
for yourself.
it might not
Yeah.
work out so much. I don't know.
I think you have to like the guy so much, but you always have to like you more. And that's what I kept on saying. Like I would be in my car and go, I like him, but I like me more, which is something I've never done in other relationships.
And then you stand up for yourself, and then they see that,
Yeah.
and they like you more.
Yeah, you have to like yourself more for them to like you more.
That's true. There's a new movie out. It's called Isn't It Romantic?
Yeah.
I think. Did you see it?
Who's in it?
It's
It's
Kristen
good.
Stewart with that really funny, you know that
I don't
actress?
remember her name either, but
Oh my
she's so
God,
funny.
what am I-
There's some definitely cheesy lines
Yeah, no,
and
but
parts
she
of
hated
it.
romantic comedies because it was all like, oh, I'm going to look for something, and then in the end she realized that if she loved herself more than those men, she would end up like conquering the world.
Speaking
But that's
of
what
which,
it's about loving yourself.
I think it's about loving yourself, but
Yeah.
let's not just stop there. You have to
Okay.
be a vixen also. Like, you know that that's the other side of me.
I mean,
Like, you
we
have to
know,
be
but a lot of
so
women don't want to.
fucking sexy.
So a lot of women feel like to be sexy, to dress up, they say they're playing games.
No, you have to be a vixen.
But
Hey,
we
listen,
love doing
my
it.
mother always said you have to be a
Innocent.
whore in the bedroom, a cook in the kitchen,
Yeah.
and a boss in the boardroom.
I love
and
it.
guess what? That's how she raised me. She
Yeah.
was a boss my whole life. She wore perfume to bed and little silk, nightgowns. I've never seen my mother going to bed with a mask or a sweater on or anything like that.
Right.
She's always, and my mother had me, she was old. At the time, having a child at 40
Yeah.
was old. Today, we're young at 40,
Yeah, yeah,
but
yeah.
our mothers were older women already. She had me at 40. So by the time I saw her doing that stuff, she was already like 55, 60. She was sexy for
What a
my
good
dad.
example for
know?
you. And when your mom's sexy, you feel
Yeah.
like you don't mind aging.
And she was classy.
makes you
but
feel like
I know she was like
You get better with age, you know?
So I do believe in that,
Yeah.
and I know that like for some people that call themselves feminists, it's like, oh, you can't say that. But yeah, you have to be a whore in the bedroom because guess what? If not, some other bitch is gonna come and is gonna do it for you.
Yeah.
You know. So I do believe that you have to have.
Especially
both
now,
sides.
it's so easy. They can
Yeah.
just get online and
Online,
pay a girl
exactly.
to like do stuff on
Or
the
even
video
virtually,
camera.
and like they don't even take a risk.
I love the idea of going to bed with perfume. Lingerie. Okay, here's the thing though. I have two boys. I used to wear lingerie, and then my boys got to an age where it got weird.
Yeah, I went through that too.
It got
Okay,
really
but
weird.
I have a whole-
10 and 12. But when my son is coming up to me like, oh, Mom, you're so sexy, it's like, I think I'm going to go back to pajamas.
But I used to see my mom being so sexy too.
Because like Dylan, but we're so weird with Dylan. Like sometimes we'll bring him, we'll go to Victoria's Secret. I'll be like, do you think this bra is sexy? And he'll be
No, but I told him,
Honestly, yeah.
I'm like, Dylan,
It
do you think
depends
my
on the
ass
boy,
is
though.
sexy?
Dylan is
My
told
older
Dylan.
son's like that.
He's like, so like.
So my older son's
mature.
cool
I
with it.
always
My
ask
younger
Dylan, I'm like,
son's
do you
a
think
little...
my ass is sexy in that? And he's like, yeah, Mom, I wish my girlfriend would look like you.
But I kind of.
That is so...
It's cute, but he means it.
It's so sweet, yeah.
He means it because he has no filter. He buys tampons for his sister.
My
I have to
10-year-old
show you.
son made a
I actually-
tampon for me the other day. I'm telling you, it's very strange. I don't know what kind of kids I'm raising. Anyway, so
tampon talk.
Let's talk tampons. In Italy, I went into stores like in Sorrento. There was like 100 boxes of pads and 1 box of tampons. Like I had to search. I'm like, what is happening?
So what did they do?
Okay, I don't. They obviously wear pads everywhere. Ew, right? Okay,
Remind me of a giant.
they're disgusting.
I use pads when we don't have tampons, and like in prison you're not allowed to
You're
buy
like, I use
tampons.
pads in prison.
Yeah, because there's nothing else. So I was taught how to make tampons with pads, and so now
No, you're
because
amazing.
Savannah didn't wear tampons right away when she had her period, she used pads at first. So sometimes when I have no tampons, I'm like, I'll show you the prison way. Like, how do you make tampons?
Like making a
with
bong out of
pads?
an apple.
Yeah.
It's super
So
easy.
one day I'll have to do a tutorial. If you run out of tampons and you have pads, prison way, I made some really good tampons.
Savannah,
And
do we need a tutorial?
She knows how. I showed you how. You know how to make
Makeshift
them.
tampon.
I even do the little thing at the end. Yeah, but yeah.
Okay, but get this.
But I always do the little thing at the end where you can just pull it. Show the guy that's like so interested in it. And Shannon just went to him. Hi. I love how you said that.
Do you like our sexy conversation?
Do you like our sexy talk? I'm about to
Oh,
stay in
that's
this
really-
seat now, okay.
Okay, but here's the thing that really weirded me out. So I went to go get sugared, which doesn't exist.
What does that mean?
Sugared? Oh, like sugar hair removal?
Oh yeah, that's really yeah.
Okay.
She looks mortified already.
This was in Venice. Well, because my hair was getting so long, and I'm like, am I just going to become an Italian, like full Italian, just grow it out, braid it? I don't know. It wasn't that bad, but it was like long. And I didn't want to shave because when you shave,
It's hard.
and
2 days later,
it
you
gets
have to
so
shave more.
scratchy, and I hate, like, I think that's part of being sexy too, is having soft legs. Like when you're intertwined with a person you love, you don't want to like hurt them. The
We'll
more
talk
you
about Savannah's
shave,
love life
your
after.
hair follicles, the pores get larger. You're enlarging them because you're exfoliating.
Yeah, you're scratching the surface of your epidermal layer.
Oh, you had laser? You're so hardcore. I should have just assumed. Like, yeah, I got laser.
No, but no. This is why I got lasered. I am a fucking psychopath. I'm a maniac. I'm like a sick perfectionist in remission. No, in remission. I'm a lot better than I used to be. Like I used to be where it's like I had roots like this and I would go get my roots done. Like I changed. I'm much better now. But so the lasering was because I couldn't have a hair on my body. Like
your arms and everything?
But no, my arms.
Oh, good.
No, but
Okay.
I'm blonde, so I'm a natural blonde.
I cannot believe you're
my
blonde.
hair is naturally lighter than your hair now.
Wow.
So this is not my real hair.
I've
color.
never seen your roots.
No,
So I think you're still psycho. Okay, so yeah, I finally found a place that does waxing in Venice. So I'm like okay with waxing. Waxing still enlarges your pores. As you can see, my pores are larger now, and
see your pores.
Um,
Okay, she's psychopath like me. It's okay.
I am such a perfectionist.
It's okay.
I hate, Anyway.
You have OCD.
I might.
Yeah, well,
but I'm
I
like
do
super laissez-faire about like most things, but
Okay,
not
can she tell her story now?
Oh, yeah. Okay, it was really hard to find, and I found out that if you ask them to do like your bikini area, they think it's like a prostitute, like Italian girls. So I did like Google speak, I was like, I'm not a prostitute, I'm an American, and I want it all off. Head to toe was only 50 euros.
Wow.
50 euros head to toe
cheap.
hair off, and their method was amazing.
Here we pay a lot more.
Oh, in America too. Like that. I was like
remember.
shocked. So it was a really great place. I'll let you know where it is if you want. But when I went in, it was the day before my period, so I just wanted to be sure. So I was like, "Do you have a tampon?" And they didn't even know what that was. And so when I finally had to translate it to her, and she still didn't know what it was, and I was like having to
I think you
mime
were in
things.
deep
Why am I
Italy.
miming it?
You were not like in
This
Milano.
is Venice.
Yeah, you were like in deep.
Venice?
Yeah, because here we have a lot of Italians.
Yeah.
I mean, most of my clients here are Italian. My celebrity clients are Italian
They
TV
come here.
presenters. They live here.
Yeah.
Because Italians don't pay tax when they live in Monaco.
Really?
So I have like soccer players and their wives, like they're my clients.
Yeah.
And all of these people are very modern. Like they use tampons. But I think when you go to places like Venice and stuff, you're going into the old.
It's very old.
Yeah.
She offered me, like, what did she call it?
One of my
a
prison
sleep?
tampons.
No, it was a sleep, I think. And it was basically like underwear. I'm like, how are you supposed to take the hair off if I'm wearing plastic underwear?
What happened?
Well, I just risked it. I was like, we should be okay.
Oh my god.
Go for it.
It's
It was
hard. I
fine.
can imagine that. I have problems
Do
with
you ever
culture.
get on these? Like you're in a different place and you get waxed.
No, I was actually filming.
She's American.
I filmed it, so I was like putting together like a music video of this while she was waxing down there.
So it got too busy.
Oh, yeah.
Americans are a lot more.
The first couple times it was awkward when they go down there and you're like, is it pretty? Is it ugly? Like you're trying to tell me about my
you always like
You know what? When I lasered, it's a Russian lady that did it for me in Brooklyn, New York, Irina, and they don't care.
Yeah.
She took my legs, she held them up like that. She was like,
Get right down in
I
there.
was mortified. I was like 24 years old. I was like, oh
The
my
first few times it's weird. Yeah.
But my leg.
Ingrid in person looks better than online. I'm serious, and she's gorgeous online. No, you are so beautiful.
Thank you.
You're more beautiful in person than
I've
online.
been told. I don't think I've been told that I don't look as good on camera. Or I've I've been
No, you look great on the camera.
No, people told me, but I can
Even
see
better
that.
than your pictures. Like,
On camera, better than the pictures.
you look better. No, you look better in real life.
You
than
look
in your
beautiful in
pictures.
real life. I prefer you without the filters.
Really?
You have gorgeous skin. Why do you?
You don't know what I look like without a filter. I'll show you. I'll show you what I look like without a filter. It's so ugly.
You have no filter.
I have you with no filter. You look gorgeous.
You have a real life filter. And you're in really like bad, like this is not the best lighting.
Really?
So you look
No, but
great.
she looks great.
You look great.
Super. It's happened to us so many times to meet people and go, yeah, she doesn't look the same as that. Or we kind of look at each other and go, that you know, like also Monaco is really small, so people recognize us.
Oh,
or we
yeah.
also recognize them sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. There's this Russian woman who like posts all of her maze bags and whatever, and she looks really good. Like I'll show you her Instagram. She looks really good on Instagram, and then we saw her in real life, and she looked like a wax museum statue. She looked so weird.
You guys, you have to look a little bit like your pictures.
Yeah,
That's for dating advice.
really
That's
like
for
'cause you
dating
do
advice
because you
too.
do end up meeting Tom. Please, that's annoying. Where'd it go?
Oh my, Ingrid, go over there.
Okay,
I have problems with
Mute.
noisy. Do you know, I spend my life, my kids are so not noisy, I spend my life going, shh. I hate noise. And
I
sometimes,
think I do too.
sometimes when some people's kids are really loud, I'll be like, shh.
yeah, the movie you said these.
You know,
Cannot stand noise.
I love, just
hate
personally,
noise.
and I think I'm really weird, but I love when people shush my kids or like reprimand them because they listen to other people better
of
than
course,
me.
they're embarrassed.
Yeah, like it takes a tribe. Yeah, if everyone's like, oh no, we're comfortable with it. Like, what can you say? What can you do at that point? No,
But
they
you
need
know what?
to
The
like
thing
let
is,
you
my
know.
kids shut up, so I consider that other people's kids should shut up. That's,
I wish there was a mute button for adults.
oh my God, adults. I prefer children, some children to adults, but I don't like all children. I'm sorry.
Very cool. You're just like mute.
We were in the hair salon the other day, and this Russian lady put her phone on speaker as I was getting my hair washed, and she was talking to a Russian guy, and it was
So
so
weird.
loud. So and she was laying down like this. Do you remember? Yeah, do you remember? And then Dakota stood there, like I think I sent you to the jeweler to make my watch shorter. So she came, she gave me my watch back, and she was like, she looked at Dakota was looking at the lady like. Then finally she walks away. I'm starting to get my blowout, and even with the blow dryer in my ear, she's like yelling. At some point, I turned around, I went like that, I went like, shh.
You did?
Yes.
Did she
And
listen?
like everyone in the hair salon was so happy because French people would never do that,
No.
you know. But everyone in the hair salon was so happy that I
speaker.
shushed her.
Like,
She
I think
stopped.
it's really rude when people pick
She
up their phone and
stopped.
talk in public. But like
But
a speaker,
in a hair salon, like I'm there
don't
to
know.
relax, dude. Like, what are you doing?
Ingrid,
Yes.
I really think you should write a book on how to be sexy. Definitely like how to be sexy as a mother and how to keep it sexy in a marriage or in a relationship.
I like that subject. I think it's a
Yeah.
good one. And you were saying, because I was talking about my mother who wore perfume to bed and her skin was always impeccable. She had like a whole routine. She was so sexy for my dad. And I'm talking, remembering her when she's like 55 years old doing that, not 38 or 40. But you were saying it's so difficult when you have small children running around.
No, it's when they got older.
When they got
and they
older.
become,
But
they're
I
starting
think
to go
that's
through
great.
puberty.
I think
and-
you're setting the bar high, and you're doing a great job at raising boys that are gonna want a wife like that or a girlfriend like that. And it's
I think
great.
it's good to raise the bar. We need them to.
It will prevent them from bringing an asshole home.
And sexiness isn't just about the way that you look. Like sexiness is an attitude.
Yeah.
Sexiness is a way that you respect yourself, you respect your body, and
I don't think it should be something that sexy is not something you should look down on. You can be very
a
classy
respect.
and be sexy. You know, it's being a woman after all.
And can I tell all my single ladies out there one more time?
Yes.
I think that if you are a confident person, if you can find a way to love yourself, love your body, and feel confident,
Love yourself
you
first.
are so far ahead. I don't care if you live in New York or LA, you are so far ahead of 99% of the girls. If a guy finds you, you're a treasure. Because our society makes us so insecure.
So true.
If all you have to do is be secure in yourself, and already A man will not believe you exist.
Like
you are a
said,
unicorn.
when you meet somebody, the only thing you have to say to yourself is, I'm gonna love me first. I love him, but I love me first.
Yeah.
That's worked for me with Shield. That's the only time I've done it, and that's the only time it worked.
Nobody can love you if you don't love yourself.
Absolutely. It's good.
Nobody can love you any more than you love yourself.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And this is where my battery died. So the conversation will have to be concluded here. I loved getting to know Ingrid and getting this interview. She is in such high demand right now. Like, everybody and their dog is interviewing her, and I feel so fortunate to have gotten to go to her hometown in Monaco and sit down with her and pick her brain about beauty and fitness and health. She definitely is an expert, and I've learned so much. I hope you have too. If you have, please hit that little thumbs up like button and subscribe if you want to hear more videos. XX Shrazzy.
I also don't want to read through my tampon.
On these white chairs, oh my god. I'm gonna end up paying for the chair.